G'day Dark Realmers, it's horror author and illustrator Michael J. Elliott here with you again, and today something a little bit different. Joe Compton from Goindienow, which if you haven't seen Joe's channel you really must check it out, okay? Because he is a huge supporter of all forms of indie talent. Filmmakers, musicians, writers, artists, you name it. And to celebrate the anniversary of Alice in Chains' debut album, he posted a tag, and the idea was he took the 12 tracks from the album and posted a question that you had to answer, which sort of reflected the tracks on the album, okay? And I've got to be totally honest, I know the name Alice in Chains, but I don't know anything. I've never listened to them, okay? So I was tagged by my mate, JB Taylor, who has his own channel, as you may know, JB Author Interviews, and he has some great content too, so check it out. Now, he tagged me to do this tag, so here we go. Now, you'll have to excuse me because of my short-term memory loss, because of a slight brain injury. I will have to keep referring back to the questions, okay? Now, some of them I might not be even able to answer, okay? But anyway, here we go. Now, track 1, We Die Young. Name an artist you loved who died too young. Well, there's a couple there. First one is Graham Chapman from Monty Python. I loved him and I was sort of strangely attracted to him too. And I read his biography called A Liar's Autobiography, where he explains about how he studied for a doctor to become a doctor, then ended up in comedy, and how he sort of realised later in life that he was gay. And when he died from a really aggressive form of cancer, I was really upset, because it meant, you know, any further collaborations with the Pythons, there was a key element missing, okay? And so that saddened me a lot. The other one is because of my love of Doctor Who, and I'm a Whovian. And one of my very favourite, and I think she tops the charts whenever they conduct a poll about favourite companions, Elizabeth Sladen as Sarah Jane Smith. Now, I watched her as she joined John Pertwee's Third Doctor, and then all that time with Tom Baker, and then of course she came back for various appearances. She was in an episode with David Tennant's Doctor, and there was a scene at the end where, because she'd said to him, "You never said goodbye to me, you know, you just left, I was waiting for you. Oh, but you've moved on," and so forth. And at the end of the adventure, she says, "No, say it now, say goodbye." And David Tennant says, "Goodbye, my Sarah Jane Smith." That had me in tears, okay? But then when I found out, and I was working with a lady at a charity shop, and she told me, "Oh, one of the companions died," you know, and I didn't think it was Sarah Jane. I thought, oh, it might be Katie Manning, okay? Well, then when I found out it was Elizabeth Sladen, I was just devastated. I really was, because Elizabeth Sladen had starred in a series that was a Doctor Who spin-off called The Sarah Jane Adventures, and it was very teen orientated, and there was occasional appearances by the Doctor, but her and you know, some teenagers used to battle alien monsters just like the Doctor did. And when she got cancer and she got very sick, they did another 3 episodes, but they couldn't finish the series off, and so there's a voiceover at the end after their final adventure that says, "And the story continues forever." And that was it. I just lost the plot. I burst into tears, okay? And it just affected me that much. And Doctor Who does that too. It's got some great emotional writing in it too, okay? So they're the two people that I've been affected by. Question 2, Man in the Box. Name a series that trapped you to start reading. Okay. Chronicles of Narnia. Yeah, definitely. I'd read The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, and then I progressed on, and I couldn't stop reading them. And then I discovered, after I'd finished all the series, The Magician's Nephew, which was like the prequel to The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, and I was just in heaven. I had to, gobble it up. And the other one was another series of books I read as a teenager that I just devoured, and that was The Dark is Rising by Susan Cooper. And the first book in the series was called Oversea Under Stone, and it set up the whole premise for this fantasy series. And I just, read the books, and one of those series where I wouldn't put it down, and then I'd race off and get the next one from the library. Just that good, okay? Number 3, Sea of Sorrow, track Sea of Sorrow. Name a song, poem, book or movie that tears you up every time you watch it. Okay, well, for me, it's 2 for 1, because the song is in the movie, and I love the movie, and that's To Sir with Love with Sidney Poitier. Now, I had to read the book in Form 5, which is the year before finishing high school. Finishing high school, what I mean by that is, the second final year, penultimate year of high school. And then I watched the movie, and at the end, when they present Sidney Poitier with this gift and they sing To Sir with Love, or Lulu sings To Sir, I'm in tears. Every single time I'm in tears. And that song still cuts me up. I don't know why. It's so wonderful. It's supposed to be uplifting and everything, but there's a poignancy to it, okay? There's a real, about these kids who are leaving, and they've become adults, and he shaped them, and just wonderful, just great stuff. Number 4, Bleed the Freak. Name a book or movie that you quote way too much. I really don't have books or movies that I quote to people and everything like that. The closest thing I could say is that we have a comedy legend here, and her name's Magda Szubanski. And now you may have seen her because she played the farmer's wife in Babe 2. Okay, well, she's just a legend, and she was in a comedy series called Full Frontal, and she used to do this character called Chanel, and she was on one of those infomercials, and when the interviewer would ask her something, she'd say, "Oh, my wordy lordy, yes indeedy do by day, Chanel." And I tend to quote that when we're around my family, especially at Christmas time, when they say, "Oh, have you had enough?" "Oh, my wordy lordy, yes indeedy do by day." And it just, but I mean, that's sort of off track, but that's the closest I can get, okay? Number 5, track 5, I Can't Remember. Name the book or movie or band that you always try to tell somebody, but you always forget the name or get it mixed up. I'm not really that much into music, to be honest. I mean, I've got my favourites, of course, but I more tend to be, if I hear a song and it's a new release or whatever, and I like it, and I always ask people, "What's the name? What's the name of the group?" And I try and sing it, and I'll invariably get 4 or 5 different answers. So I have to do a search, and then I find it, and I'm so happy. And I add that to my mixed singles collection, okay? But that's the closest I get to that. Number 6, track 6, Love, Hate, Love. Name a book you love that everyone else hates. Well, I really can't answer that, and that's because I don't have a lot of friends who are bookish or read books. I've got my family. I don't have many friends who sort of hate what I read, because I tend to read horror, science fiction, fantasy. I'm a big reference book reader. I love books, you know, on topics that interest me, like feng shui and Greek mythology and so forth. So really, I don't have anyone say that's rubbish, you shouldn't be reading that. Okay, number 7, track 7. It ain't like that. Name a book, movie, poem, song that everyone always gets wrong when they talk to you about it. Once again, I really can't answer that because I don't have people talking to me about books, movies, etc. It's really strange, you know. As someone with a media background, you'd think I'd get a lot of people saying, "Oh, there was this movie. Have you seen rah rah?" And it just doesn't happen to me. So I don't have that to answer for you. But you know, having said that, I would never correct someone, you know, if they got it wrong. I'd tell them, yeah, I know the movie you're talking about. Did you know the title? You know, happens to be this, or you know, but I'd never go into and say, oh, that was released in 1976, not 77, and I wouldn't do that to people. Okay. Number 8, Sunshine. Name your favourite or feel-good book, movie, or album. Album. There's not one I could name. Feel-good movie. Yeah, that would once again have to be To Sir with Love, because it's just, I just love it on so many levels. Okay. All about, you know, turbulence of teenage years, and you know, arming kids with you know, the tools to go out and be adults, and showing respect, and learning all the rules of society. It's just great. It's just wonderful. Okay, number 9, Put You Down. Name a book you can't put down, or the movie you can't stop watching. Ooh, okay. Well, books. Yeah, I'd have to say, as I'm older, I tend not to, um, you know, I don't binge read so much as I used to. Okay, when I was a teenager and a kid, I used to, definitely, and I'm reading some good novels at the moment. But I would say it would have to be the Dark is Rising series by Susan Cooper, because I could just binge read that, because it's like, if you like the Chronicles of Narnia, you will love this, because it deals with King Arthur and a group of children out on an adventure, and it's just wonderful. And this hunt for these items of power, okay, it's just wonderful. I could binge read that without a problem in the world. And I was so upset. They turned it into a movie and they ruined it. The Dark is Rising was the second book in the series. Now, these books were set in the sort of 60s and everything, and it's a much more innocent time, okay? And, you know, the kids would go and explore attics and things like that. No, of course, they set it in today's age, and all the kids had iPods and phones and everything, and it just ruined the whole thing, okay? And nothing about wrong with, you know, different nationalities doing different roles, but these were English books, and to have it set with an American teenager and an American family just ruined it for me. So, yeah, sorry about that little rave, okay? Number 10, track 10, Confusion. Name the book, movie, or album that you just don't get. Um, hmm. Okay, well, I thought when I was a teenager and I was sort of just coming into my teenage years, And I'd heard people talk about these different groups, and I wanted to be really hip, and I wanted to be in it. So I bought, at the local market, I bought Pink Floyd's, Dark Side of the Moon. And I have to say, apart from money, um, it really left me. I don't understand this. I really don't understand this. And so I sort of, yeah, never went back to Pink Floyd apart from, um, The Wall, not the album, the single. Okay. So that did confuse me. I think I was a bit too young to enjoy that sort of, that music. Okay. Number 11. I know something, quote, about you. Name a book, movie, or album you have an obsessive insider knowledge about or love with. Um, okay, I suppose I would have to say Psycho. And that's because, I've also reviewed it here on the Dark Realm Diaries, so check that out. But also, it was one of those movies that haunted me for a long, long time. And I'm a huge Alfred Hitchcock fan. And so I did a lot of reading about Alfred Hitchcock, a lot of info about the making of Psycho and about Robert Bloch. And um, I've gained a lot of insider knowledge. Now, I didn't learn all that just to be pretentious. I genuinely have a really strong interest in movie trivia and behind the scenes and everything. So, I know things like the blood in the shower scene was actually chocolate sauce, okay? And the most famous horror scene probably ever, the shower scene, took 7 days to film. Okay, so things like that. So I do have an obsessive knowledge about that, but I don't. I don't try and like bore people with it. If the subject comes up, um, yeah, but I won't. I won't. If someone says, "Oh, Psycho was a great movie," I won't leap in with a whole heap of trivia and things like that because I don't want to be a nerd. I don't want to bore people. Okay. So yeah. So number 12, The Real Thing. Name the book, movie, or album that really defines you or changed you in such a profound way. Well, I can't think of a book that defines me because books are an organic thing and people are organic. We grow, we change. You know the old saying, show me the boy at 7, I'll give you the man. Well, we all change every 7 to 9 years. We grow and mature. But books that had a profound effect on me are probably 1984. That chilled me to the bone. Because I'm really a gentle person. I'm really a pacifist, and I hate confrontation, even verbal confrontation. If people are arguing, I'll walk away from it. Okay, and the fact that this regime that totally subjugated people, I couldn't believe it. Okay, so that had a huge impact on me. Um, and the movie too was just brilliant. The very late Sir John Hurt, just brilliant in that, and so was Richard Burton too. And so I loved that. And I think, as I've mentioned in another video, Brave New World had a huge impact on me because I just found it mind-blowing about test tube babies and everyone's role in society defined and things like that. So those books have had an effect on me, and a few of the other dystopian books too, like Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. And as an author, this is probably the most terrifying book ever. And a reader too, about a society where, because of conflicting opinions and so forth in books and literature, books are banned, and they're actually firemen go around burning books. Okay, and that's just terrifying. In the movie, the images of the classics like Charles Dickens, the Little Curiosity Shop going up, and works by Aristotle and everything just burning, and just a bit of trivia, the title comes from the fact that Fahrenheit 451, that's a temperature that paper starts to burn, okay? But those books have really affected me in the fact that it's Fahrenheit 451 gave me, made me realise how wonderful it is. What a wonderful world where we can read and grow and learn, and there's so much information out there for us, Dark Realmers. Whatever your interest is, you'll find it somewhere now, and even more so with the internet and social media and so forth, okay? So there you go. They're my responses to the tag. Thank you very much, JB, for putting me up for this. It was a lot of fun. Now, I have to tag a couple of people, so I'm going to tag Karen J. Mossman, who's an author and a good friend. And I'm also going to tag my editor and good friend and author, Christie Stratos. Okay, and I'll have their links to their channels down below, okay? So I've hoped you've enjoyed this in a little form, Dark Realmers. Just gives you a bit more information about moi, okay? Anyway, I'll be back very, very soon with another episode of the Dark Realm Diaries, and I suppose I should sign off the same way. Stay in the light. Bye for now.